Alright, so nagbabalik tayo sa ating violin tips and tricks. And for today's video, I want to talk about a bow stroke that I believe is one of the most important and crucial strokes na kailangan nating malaman as a string player, no? Not just for violinists but also other bowed stringed instruments. Yeah. So, we have a ton of techniques when it comes with the right hand, diba? Ang dami nating pwedeng pag-usapan about bowing, because for me 80 to 90% of the things that you do with your instrument will come from your bow. Your sound comes from your bow. So we have to give that much more of an importance with it. Kahit nasabihin natin yung left hand holds the violin, the two main processes that it control is only for intonation and vibrato. Hindi naman natin tinatanggal yun sa kanya. Pero the bow hand does all the dirty work. Lahat ng gusto nating gawin, pagandahin yung sound, to control volume, to control, the quality, tone, color, will always come from your bow. And even articulation, which is very, very important, no? Kasi articulation will tell us how short or how long the strokes will be, no? Pero anong ba yung kailangan mong i-focus? And a lot of people, I think, take this for granted, which is yung first stroke na natututunan natin, which is what we call the Detache stroke, no? Not a lot of people spend time on this stroke, thinking kasi na a lot of things can happen kahit di man naman siya masyadong mastered, no? So, what is a Detache stroke? So, it's the first stroke that you learn. Bakit napaka-importante yung stroke na yun? Why is that stroke so important in building everything up when you're learning your bowed strings, no? Diba? Napaka-simple. Up, down, up, down. Kasi this is the main basis of every other stroke that you will use, no? Kasi the Detache stroke is para siyang, kumbaga sa strings, di ba? Meron tayong standard na nasa gitna. Parang yun yung Detache stroke. It's the same thing with dominant strings, no? Shameless plug. But, yeah, talking about the Detache stroke, you can easily turn that stroke into your staccato stroke. Diba? Or even a spicato stroke. Diba? It will just need adjustments on certain parts of your bow stroke. Pero it all comes down to having a good Detache stroke, no? So ano nga ba paano ba natin nagagawa yung iba't ibang stroke? So for me, we have the first initial attack, di ba? And then the stroke itself, and then the way you release it. So that's how I break down every stroke that I do, no? But with Detache stroke, parang nandun lahat siya sa gitna. You don't need much effort on your initial attack. You don't need anything to do while you're stroking, just keeping that speed constant, and then you just stop without any pressure. So, napaka-simpleng stroke, di ba? Pero if you master and control that stroke, you can do anything at will, no? So, Detache stroke, again, attack, constant speed, and then just stop. And then you can change directions. Up bow, same thing, and then stop. If you want to connect, huwag yung stop, diretso mo lang. And it will continue to sound, and pwede mo pang paglaruan, no, to get other strokes from it. So let's say, yun nga, staccato. So when we say staccato strokes, we can get that from our Detache stroke. Kasi yung Detache, and then staccato would go like this. Anong nangyari? Binago lang natin yung release. We change the release. Instead of letting it glide or letting the bow ring, we stop it without any pressure, pero deliberately stopping. Versus sa detache kanina, hindi mo kita na pinigilan mo talaga yung bow. So, with that, meron na tayo agad panibagong stroke na pwede natin i-master. Pero kailangan maintindihan muna natin how we can do the detache stroke properly. Next stroke, sige, try natin ng iba pang strokes. So, if we want to play spicato stroke, so ang spicato is bouncing. Diba? So, binago natin yung attack or yung initial movement and you parang inalis mo siya doon. And then, diba? So, bumabalik pa rin tayo dun sa detache stroke natin that will keep us in check dun sa galaw ng movements ng kamay, ng daliri, ng wrist, everything that you move. And if you have that amount of control that you can do your detache strokes very well, you can do almost all strokes, no? Kahit na sabihin natin up bow staccatos or down bow staccatos. Kasi binabago lang natin yung timpla. So, yung pagkaka-tune, for a lack of a better term, of how we try to change the rhythm or the movements of the fingers, the hands, and the arms. Kasi pagbalik natin, ito yung pinaka-relaxed na stroke, to say the least. Now, if you want to connect, it's still the same stroke, we just change a little bit, no? Binabago naman natin yung point of change from down to up, di ba? So, papuntang staccato. Now, if you want to do accents, it's still the same thing. So, meron lang force and then the release is very, very light. Pero yung speed in the middle, hindi siya pantay. You go fast and then you slow down. That's how you do accents naman do. So, everything is based out of detache stroke. And if you don't master that stroke, there's a lot of things that you lose. You lose the important movements and important things na kailangan mong i-apply muna doon sa stroke na yun. Like, your finger movements, di ba? Movement of your wrist. Kasi, kung pupunta ka agad, for example, hindi ka pa sanay na sanay sa detache mo, tapos mag-staccato strokes ka, anong mangyayari? Pwedeng manigas yung kamay mo kasi pinipilit mo siyang itigas, no? Pero the important thing about staccato is there's still no pressure. Wala rin naman siyang dinadagdag na kahit ano, except for stopping deliberately. Diba? Tumitigil lang tayo. Versus sa detache stroke, tumitigil man tayo very, very little lang and we go directly to the other notes. So, that deliberate stop, di ba? Wala pa rin tayong binubuong tension. There's no added interference then dun sa ating pagbubow. It's all in our control. And in order for you to control those things, you have to control the little things that are happening in your open strings. So, a lot of people, parang hindi na sila nag-open strings, hindi sila nagpa-practice ng scales, na mababagal, hindi nagsuslow practice, thinking na okay na. Pero pagdating sa mga pieces, sometimes you find it hard for yourself to execute a certain sound. You can't produce that sound that you want. It's because you lack your mastery of one basic stroke, no? So, if you really want to improve your sound, if you want to make all the sounds that you want, no? To be able to control them, babalik at babalik tayo sa detache stroke. Because this is, I might call it the mother of all strokes, no? Just because everything will come back to it, no? Siguro hindi i-ricochet, syempre hindi, pero if you still trace it back dun eh. Diba? Andun pa rin yung movements. All the movements that you need with your arms, wrist, fingers will come from that stroke and in turn improve all strokes that you can do. So, it will improve your articulation. Kumbaga, mas magiging articulate, mas mapapalabas mo yung sound mo if you know how to do the basic open bow strokes, no? Of course, you're not just limited to playing it in open strings. Of course, you can play on scales and play your pieces on that stroke. For example, if you have a piece that is puro staccato, how about try to play it muna ng Detache? And then you just adjust. Or, yun nga, spicato. Diba? As low or as high as you want. But it's still the same stroke that you are going to come back home to, kumbaga. No? And if you master that stroke, kahit pa open strings lang, you will really see the difference when you start playing your pieces pa rin. No? And sana nakatulong tong video na to. If it did, like this video, share this video, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a ton more content coming up for you. Check out also my course on Udemy. Check out my songs on Spotify. No, we released a classical album entitled Expression. Yan. Short pieces for violin and piano. There's 5 pieces. You can also check it out on Sheet Music Plus para makita niyo yung scores if you want to play along with the pieces that I compose. Ayan. This is Ryan Monakil for Violin Tips and Tricks, and I'll see you on the next video.